Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. 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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari. 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 Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare Mataji Jaya Bhagapadaya Shri Mataji Jaya Giri Govardhana Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Gurudeva 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 Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Harinama Sankirtana ki Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vishnu Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Jnana
Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Gadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Guru Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sarvetam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Savana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Paramani Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyata Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So thank you, Steve, for hosting us today
It's my pleasure. Thanks for coming.
and having a wonderful opportunity to discuss this most wonderful Bhagavad Gita. So last week we spoke about the 26th verse of the 13th chapter, and it spoke about hearing, and how one, regardless of their starting position, meaning no matter how much we may not know, by the simple but highly effective process of hearing about this knowledge from an authority, one can achieve perfection of life. Right? And we talked about how actually all day long we're doing some form of hearing. Right? We're hearing something on the radio, hearing something from reading the newspaper, watching that TV box, whatever it is, in school, studying. We acquire the vast majority of our knowledge in life, whether it be material or spiritual, from the process of hearing. And we know in our material endeavors, we're selective in who we hear from. We select certain sources of information to hear from. We don't just hear from anybody. Right? So when it comes to spiritual science, Srila Prabhupada is guiding us that one must be thoroughly disciplined in knowing whom to hear from. Because everybody has an opinion, particularly actually when it comes to spirituality. When it comes to nuclear physics, maybe not so many people comment. When it comes to some esoteric art or philosophy, maybe not everybody comments. But when it comes to spirituality, everybody's got an opinion. Right? And what we know is ultimately, like Arjuna, the only opinion that truly can give us perfect knowledge is coming from Krishna. Because he's the absolute truth, meaning he's always perfect and has full and complete knowledge, then the knowledge he gives is absolute, meaning it's true and applicable in all circumstances, not just any particular set of circumstances. And that's what makes it far-reaching and ever valuable. You acquire some knowledge to buy some stock in the stock market. Well, that knowledge is only relative to that moment, and even that could be full of all kinds of risks and unknown. Okay? We have knowledge that this store is having a sale on some item. Oh, great! I can go get something cheap. But you still have to go there. Maybe they run out. That knowledge is really. If you find that knowledge out 2 days later, it's useless. Because that knowledge is relative to the time and circumstance and place in which it was received. So it makes it relative. And ultimately, all material knowledge, we say, what if you had the knowledge of what tomorrow's lottery numbers are going to be? Wow. That'd be valuable knowledge, would it not? That could give me millions of dollars. But even that knowledge, what is the duration of its value? A few years. How long can you enjoy that? Okay, maybe the rest of my life, 50, 60 years, whatever is remaining, we don't know. But that's the value of that knowledge. And we know, those who have won the lottery, over 50% of them desire that they never won it. That is their wish. Because it doesn't bring the real happiness they thought. So much stress and anxiety comes from it. People become their friends, and one doesn't know, are they my friends because I have money? Are they my friends because they really like me? And all kinds of, politics come into them. So the point is that knowledge is temporary. But when it comes to spiritual knowledge, what is the duration of spiritual knowledge? How long does it last?
Eternally.
Krishna said in the 2nd chapter, whatever we learn, whatever knowledge we hear, it stays with us eternally. We take it life to life. If I've learned 3%, my next life I start at 3 and go from there. That's 7. But we know, I've learned 2 plus 2 in this life. Next life, what do I have to do again? I have to learn 2 plus 2 all over again. It doesn't say, that's material knowledge. So this spiritual knowledge has an eternal duration of value. And then what's the magnitude of the value? This knowledge about who is Krishna, who am I, and what is my relationship? What is the result of that knowledge? what do we get?
Bliss.
Bliss. How long?
Forever.
Eternal. Eternal happiness, right? That's what we're all searching for. We want knowledge that'll give us eternal happiness. I think, oh, wait, winning the lottery will give me eternal happiness. But we know it won't. You know, cracking the code on this COVID virus isn't going to give us eternal happiness. You know, it just doesn't. But knowing how to awaken our relationship with Krishna, that gives us eternal happiness. And so this hearing about this science from a very bona fide source is so powerful, right? And Krishna in his last verse is saying that this is the means that one takes to attain this perfection. So we gave so many examples of personalities being saved by the power of hearing. You know, all the people Srila Prabhupada was preaching to, right? They're coming from a very, you know, on this topic, unknowledgeable background, right? And no information. But in very short time, because of the potency of the speaker, who is speaking directly in Guru Parampara, not adding any of his own ideas, but simply passing on what has come from Krishna through Guru disciplic succession, because that message was coming in that way, uninterrupted, pure, it had the potency. And because the recipient also was very humble and eager to know, that combination creates great results. So our job as the listener, the hearer, is to have an open heart, to be humble, and to take. And the speaker's job is to speak according to disciplic succession. And when those two things happen, wonderful things transpire. And I think you gave the example last week of Mugrari the hunter. What made his rapid transformation was Narada Muni speaking pure knowledge, and Mugrari's humility, saying, "Oh, I didn't know," and accepting that knowledge. Right? So that combination leads to quick results. So this hearing is so powerful, and we could go on forever speaking about hearing, because it's so wonderful. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, we see so many wonderful discussions with the sages at Naimisharanya, talking about, you know, the importance of hearing, and so many other wonderful examples. So now Krishna is transitioning to in the 27th verse to getting back to some of the, you know, technical nature or topics, again originating from Arjuna's questions on these different, you know, field, the knower of the field, the enjoyer, the nature, the object of knowledge. Right? So in 27 we'll read today a little bit about what comprises this, you know, this existence around all of us. Right? So let's read verse number 27. Someone wants to read the verse?
O chief of the Bharatas, know that whatever you see in existence, both the moving and the non-moving, is only a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field.
Purport?
Both material nature and the living entity which are existing before the creation of the cosmos are explained in this verse. Whatever is created is but a combination of the living entity and material nature. There are many manifestations like trees, mountains, hills, which are not moving, and there are many existences which are moving. And all of them are but combinations of material nature, the superior nature, the living entity. Without the touch of the superior nature, the living entity, nothing can grow. The relationship between material nature and spiritual nature is eternally going on, and this combination is affected by the Supreme Lord. Therefore, he is the controller of both the superior and inferior natures. The material nature is created by him, and the superior nature is placed in this material nature, and thus all these activities and manifestations take place.
So, you know, there's so many hypotheses and philosophers and scientists trying to understand the origin of the world and how it came about and how it works. But our Vedic science actually gives us very exacting information on this. So, at the foremost, everything in the world is made up of Krishna's energies. We saw this in the 7th chapter. Krishna said everything is either my apara or para shakti. Apara shakti means an inferior energy. Para shakti means superior energy. Right? So, in the one sense, we say that there is no difference between the energy and the energetic. What that means is, when the sun is shining, today the sun was shining bright. Is there a difference between the sun rays, the sunshine, and the sun itself?
No.
No. Right? The sun is made up of a bunch of sunshine. But you can also say, well, no, the sun is a globe that is just different from the sunshine. So at one point you can say they're the same, but they're also different. Right? So this is simultaneously one and different. And the same applies to Krishna and his energies. So Krishna is non-different from his energies. But he's also distinct from his energies. He maintains himself in his form as Krishna, though he is present throughout the creation within his energies. Right? So it's a little bit of a philosophical point that's sometimes hard to grasp. But if we start to break it down, at the beginning of the creation of this universe, there are raw material elements required, right? But just like if you are going to build a house and you drop on the front lawn all the wood, the concrete, the nails, the shingles, the tiling, the countertops, the cabinets, everything, you just throw it all. Are you going to have a house? What do you need to have a house?
Someone to construct it or put it together.
You need somebody to assemble it, right? To move those parts. You open up an IKEA piece of furniture, right? Thinking a little more practical one, but we may not. Does it just open the box and there it is? That's Arjun. Arjun has to assemble it in our home. Someone's going to assemble it, right? It means there needs to be a person who facilitate. Otherwise, it's just matter, right? So this universe, it doesn't have any movement, any activity until there is the interaction of the living entities, right? So that is a superior energy, right? So Krishna says, Prabhupada says that the living entities are part of the spiritual nature. Why is that the case? Why are the living entities part of the superior spiritual energy?
Because they're spiritually part and parcel to Krishna.
Perfect. They're part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna is a superior energy, so obviously anything that comes from him is also going to be of that same nature. Maybe in small quantity, but it'll have quality of the same nature, right? Just like if I pull a drop of ocean water out of the ocean, it's going to have the same principal composition as the whole of the ocean, because it comes from the ocean. Right? So clearly the living entity is of spiritual nature. And what is matter?
Inferior nature.
It's inferior. And why do we consider it inferior?
Because it's obsolete or inanimate without consciousness, which is soul.
It has no consciousness, right? It's dead matter. Dead not in an insulting way, but in a practical way, right? This used to be living entity, but there's no consciousness, right? So it's matter, right? So the whole of the creation is just a composition of these two things: matter and living entities. Nothing else. Right? So there's one let's take a step back. Why did Krishna create this universe, this material universe?
The desire of living entities.
And what was and what was their desire?
To lord over it and live apart from Krishna.
Enjoy
lord
separate.
over it and be apart from Krishna. To try to be master, to be separated from Krishna. Now, based on what we know here, can you be separated from Krishna?
Mm.
Why?
It's part and parcel.
Or part and parcel, and why else?
There is only Krishna.
Where is there not Krishna? Let's ask that. On the North Pole, is there Krishna? South
Mhm.
Pole?
Mhm.
Krishna is everywhere. In what way?
Yeah.
Spiritually,
Or
Material.
materially.
either in all the matter around us, that is Krishna's energy, or all the living entities. They're also Krishna's energies. So factually, we can never be separated from Krishna. It's kind of a, whoa. But I don't always perceive Krishna everywhere. I don't recognize my connectivity to Krishna. Why is that? What influences us?
The three modes of nature.
Three modes of nature. And they bewilder us through the illusory energy of Maya, who covers our understanding. And we don't see how we are interacting with these three modes and being subjected to them. And we don't see how everything is ultimately part of the Supreme Lord. Right? So that is due to the illusory energy. And that illusory energy is there simply to try to fulfill our desire. And again, our desire was to lord it over nature, to try to be separate from Krishna. It's not possible. So this illusion is created. Right? So when we say the material world is illusion, the illusion is that our understanding that it's somehow separated from Krishna. Right? So Krishna says here, no, whatever you see in existence, both moving and non-moving, is just a combination of the field of activities and the knower of the field. And who is the knower of the field?
Krishna.
Krishna.
Right? And the field of activities, we know, that's the earth, air, fire, water, ether, right? Mind, intelligence, false ego, the 24 main elements, right? That's what makes up the kshetra. So everything is one of these two compositions. So the one question that becomes like, okay, well, how does this help me? What is the relevance of this knowledge?
To let it all go and free yourself from it through detachment.
And why should we let it all go and free ourselves from it?
It's only temporary.
It's only temporary. And our full existence is based on a dependent relationship with Krishna. Everything we try to enjoy in the material world, all the matter we're trying to enjoy, it is simply coming from Krishna. So this idea of trying to enjoy separate from Krishna, it's not practical. And we have very tangible results of it too. Right? What is the nature of our existence in this material world? Eternal bliss? No problems?
Suffering.
Suffering.
Nobody has any problems? Everybody's got perfect existence? Right? We see, it's a struggle. Prabhupada says it's a struggle for existence. Right? Why is it that we have to work so hard just to maintain our basic needs? You know? Because we are trying to operate out of our natural environment. Right? So this this nature is very important. And the Prabhupada opens a purport and says the material nature and the living entity, they were existing before the creation of this cosmos. That's very important. Our existence predates even this universe. What was our born on date? What is our born on date?
No idea.
Not only no idea, What else?
There is no beginning. and
There's no
There is no beginning. It's eternal. That's the definition of eternal. There is no beginning. But what's the born-on date of this universe?
So many
We actually know.
years
Roughly.
ago.
There's approximately 50, little over 50 years of Lord Brahma's life has elapsed in this universe. And we know we're in the 28th Yuga cycle of the 7th Manu, so we're in the middle of the day. So we have some understanding of the duration of this universe. But we can measure its duration because there's a beginning and end, right? But Prabhupada says material nature is existing before the creation of this cosmos. So what does that mean?
It's always been
How
there.
is it? What's that?
Part of Krishna, so it's always been there. I mean, not necessarily be manifested, but it's the energy is always there.
So the creation goes through stages of manifest and unmanifest. But the raw materials, the Mahatattva, all the materials, those are always present. Right? And they get together, it's like a clay pot. An earthen clay pot. At one point it's manifest into a clay pot. And then it breaks. But when it's broken, the clay is still there. It's just the pot is not manifested. And then you can re-manifest it again. And then it breaks. So is the clay pot temporary or eternal? It's kind of both, right? So the material nature is eternal. But its manifested form goes through creation, maintenance, and destruction. And it goes through that cycle. Right? And we have Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, and Lord Brahma overseeing those three aspects. Right? But is Lord Brahma the creator, the independent creator?
No, he's dependent creator.
Right? He's the empowered creator. He's given the opportunity, the potency to create. By who?
Krishna.
Krishna.
Because, as Prabhupada says in the purport, that he says, therefore, he is the controller of both the superior and inferior natures, right? He being Krishna. He is the controller of both. So this whole world is simply an opportunity to engage with Krishna. And so the living entity with vision, he sees Krishna everywhere. In the beautiful mountain, he sees, how Krishna's material energy is manifested into this beautiful mountain. The Grand Canyon. How Krishna's energies have arranged to create such a beautiful sight for the eyes. Right? So all the nature around us is an opportunity to see Krishna. When the wise person sees another person, what do they see?
A living entity.
They see a living entity. And they say that living entity is part and parcel of Krishna. So there's a familial relationship. Hey, I'm part and parcel of Krishna. You're part and parcel of Krishna. It means we're all ultimately one family.
Mm-hmm.
Then where is the conflict? Where is the judgmentalism? Where is the discrimination? We're all, we may have different kshetras, but a devotee doesn't see the kshetra. He sees the living entity within. And also, what else does he see? Krishna in the form of Paramatma. He sees Paramatma. He says, wait, Krishna is there also. Right? Actually, Krishna is present in Paramatma in every atom, even in matter. Krishna is present. That's how pervasive he is. every atom, even within inanimate matter, Krishna is present. Now the scientists are saying, well, I don't know. Prove it to me. I don't believe it. Okay? But our Vedic scriptures have proven so many things that the scientists are just now coming to know. Over and over and over again, we're saying. And you may have known Siddhari Prabhu has written some nice books and doing some great presentations on how in our Puranas so much scientific knowledge is given that we know is thousands of years old, that science is just collaborating or corroborating today, or today meaning in the last 100 years. And so it just shows the validity. So when those statements are true, so when Krishna says, I am present in every atom, we know those are also factual. So this is the understanding of the nature around us. And by understanding the nature around us, we can then learn how to make a better situation and circumstance for us. Okay. Any comments or questions?
I just have a question.
Yeah.
When we talk about Paramatma and the Purusha avatar, for example, is the relevance of the specific names of the expansions, Karama-daksai, Garbha-daksai, and Kishyo-daksai, Vishnu, is there a way to address those names specifically and a relevance to that, or is it just basically, a specificity, you know what I mean, like a specific name?
Yeah. So there's two sort of things. One, what it tells us is, again, this creation is not random.
Right.
Right. But that Karna-daksha Vishnu lying on a causal ocean in the spiritual world, through his breathing, is creating universes.
Mm-hmm.
What do we create through our breathing? Nothing. Right? Do we create a table? We can't even make one simple table by our vision. But Lord Vishnu is lying on the earth and creating universes. But we think, no, I am God, or I'm equal to God. But sitting on this nice chair, I can't make anything. Right? But Lord, so we understand that Karna-daksha Vishnu, the relevance is the origin and source of the creation. Right? Then what we understand from Garbha-daksha Vishnu and Shiro-daksha Vishnu is that Vishnu personally enters into each universe to further facilitate the creation. So, Krishna is not also just far away in the spiritual world, but he's present in this universe, lying on the Garbha ocean, which is perspiration coming from Lord Vishnu, that's coming from his body, not our kind of perspiration. Our perspiration is waste.
Mm-hmm.
It's a waste product of the body. Krishna's perspiration is transcendental. So it creates this Garbha ocean. And it lays the foundation for the universe, right? Because from the navel of Garbha-daksha Vishnu comes the lotus flower. Lord Brahma's atop the flower. And all the universes are supported by the stem. So we understand that the whole of the universe is lying on the foundation of Garbha-daksha Vishnu. So that's the relevance there.
Is there a difference between the Karana-dak and the Garbha-dak ocean? Is it kind of essentially?
No, they're very because so think about the Karna ocean is in the spiritual world. It's in a kind of a corner of the spiritual world, and then and the Karna-daksha Vishnu is lying upon that. And as the universes are created, then each individual ball is then filled with another ocean.
Oh, okay.
Right? There's another, and then where does that water come from? It comes from Garbha-daksha Vishnu, who has entered. Right? So through the eyes, the universe is impregnated with all the material elements and the living entities. And then Garbha-daksha Vishnu first enters into the universe.
So then is the Garbha-dak ocean, is it material or spiritual as well?
Well, it's spiritual in the sense that it's an off product of the Supreme Lord,
Okay.
but it's not an ocean we see or can
Right.
observe.
Is that the ocean that when in the story where the world's taken to the bottom of the ocean?
Yeah,
and
the bottom of the
that's the ocean.
Varaha comes in.
Varaha,
Yeah.
the glorification.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then your next question is Shirodakshaya Vishnu. So Shirodakshaya Vishnu sits atop the universe. So at the very top, even beyond Brahmaloka, is a place called Shvetadvip. Shvetadvip is an island within the milk ocean. Thus, he's called Shiro. Shiro's milk, like condensed milk. So Shirodakshaya Vishnu lies there. And from there, he expands as Paramatma into the entire universe, both into the living entity as well as through matter.
So is that where the demigods and demons churned? And
Not where they churn, but that's where the demigods go when they're in trouble and they try to see the Lord. They'll go to the edge of that milk ocean, and they'll pray, and Lord Vishnu will come. That's Shirodakshaya Vishnu. And it will, like at the beginning of the 10th canto, we see the prayers. Whenever there's some turbulence in the earthly planet, and all of the incarnations appear through Shirodakshaya Vishnu into the material world. So, but it's the technical knowledge is not so critical. What's critical to remember is that this creation, this universe, right? There's billions of universes, as many grains of sand on a beach, right? In each universe, it's still being fully supported, top and bottom, by the Supreme Lord. And everything, again, is being manifested. So that's really the importance. And all of these are plenary expansions from Krishna. So they are performing the various administration activities on behalf of Lord Krishna. But Krishna is the source. So who's the source of all this, right? Like, where should I... everything is an expansion from Krishna. So these are all Purusha avatars. But Krishna's, we see in Srimad Bhagavatam, Krishna's too, Bhagavan Swayam. Of all of the different incarnations, how many there are? Like you cannot count the waves in an ocean, you can't count the number of it. They're unlimited. But of all of them, there's one source. And that is Krishna. Right? And that is also a very, I would say, misunderstood concept. No reason it should be. Krishna has established it over and over and over and over again. Lord Brahma has established it. Lord Shiva, everybody has established it. All our Shastras. But due to some ulterior motives, there's the creation of some doubt. But Krishna is the supreme personality Godhead, and from him, Lord Balaram expands, and from Lord Balaram, everything kind of subsequently expands.
Okay.
And this is given in great detail again in the Srimad Bhagavatam 2nd and 3rd cantos. So,
Excellent. Thank you very much.
any other questions or comments? Any question online or anything? No? Anything else? Okay, so shall we chant?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda.